Hey everybody, hello. Not really a lot that's going to go on today. It looks like I'm being shadow banned again because I'm only seeing one viewer, but it doesn't matter because this is just going to be basically a test. And what I want to do is if you're watching from the Open Carry Texas channel, I think we have finally qualified for Super Chat on the Open Carry Texas channel, so I don't have to, do the money flipping around thing anymore. So if you're on the OCT channel, let me know if there's a super chat option during this live video because I don't know if it's going to take some time to happen or whatever. I know I filled everything out and we've qualified for it. So that'll be good because when we do these videos on the Open Carry Texas channel, I don't have to worry about collecting money and figuring out what was sent to me and what was sent to Open Carry Texas, even though I pretty much send everything to Open Carry Texas anyway. The other thing I wanted to do was talk a little bit about HB 1927, which as a matter of fact, let me update the title of this video real quick for those that aren't here yet. There we go. Oh, that didn't work. Let's see if that works. Nope, it's not letting me. All right, doesn't matter. All right, so anyway, so I'm doing a test of a couple things. First of all, I finally got my my lighting. I've got a little circle light thingy there so that the video should be a lot better. This is kind of what it used to look like. It was a little darker, and now you get to see my pores and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. Second thing was, so I've got the light. I've also got hopefully a new microphone coming in. I don't think it's the microphone. I'm going to probably have to change out the audio card in this laptop. And that because I've got a brand new mic. I know it's not the mic, but I've got to probably get a new audio card for this thing. So if you hear static, sorry, nothing I'm going to be able to do about it right now because every time I try to touch it, it gets even worse or it cuts off my mic. All right, so a little bit about HB 27. So HB 27 was placed on the intent calendar. Oh, and okay, now we got a few more people here. If you're watching this from the, do you have no volume? That's too bright. Here, let's try this. Let's try. Is that better? That's a little better. I like that one better. Yeah, that's a lot better. What was I saying? Oh yeah, for those of you, if you're watching this on the Open Carry Texas channel, what I would like you to do is see if there is a super chat function down there, because that didn't used to be there. It used to be that people would have to watch, because I simulcast when I do these, and if it's about guns, I simulcast on my CJ Grisham and the Open Carry Texas channel. And in the past, we haven't had super chat on the Open Carry Texas channel, but we finally qualified for it, and I've got it, and I think I have it set up. So just let me know if that's the case. I bet you it's not, because now that I think about it, I don't remember entering our bank account information yet, but I filled out all the I agreement stuff. So let me know. Let me know. Still too bright? Oh well, that's all there's only 3 settings here. There's this, that, which is wow. That, which is way bright. Yeah, I like that better. That's the best one. Unless there's a, let me see if I can dim it a little bit. Oh, there we go. There we go. I can dim it a little bit. All right, that's a little better. Yay! It is set up. Okay, so there is a super chat function for OCT. Great. All I've got to do is go back and put in our bank information. But now I don't have to worry about money getting pushed around all over the place. Great. All right, now let's talk about 1927 real quick. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time doing this because, oh, there you go. Yeah, I got a super sticker there. All right. Thank you, Rose, for the $5. And I think that's through OCT. Either way, while we're in session, okay, regardless, while we're in session, if I'm talking about gun rights stuff, I'm going to be doing it on both my channel and the Open Carry Texas channel. And any money I get is going to go to Open Carry Texas anyway. But the good news is once I'm done with this, I can separate the two. Okay. And that'll be good. So, all right, 1927. Here's the deal. First of all, it was placed on the intent channel. Oh, it was my channel. Okay. Yeah, I knew my channel worked. I just didn't know if the Open Carry Texas channel, for those that are watching this on Open Carry Texas, if that had super chat. I'll figure that out. So if it is, if you're on Open Carry Texas, type in the chat there. Super chat is available on the Open Carry Texas channel or the OCT channel. That way I know. Dim it one more time. How's that? A little better? Am I sexier now? I think I know what you want to. I know what you want me to do, Texas Kilo. You're trying to get me to turn the light off so you can't see me and get the ugliness off your screen. I get it. I got you. I got your number. All right, just kidding. Yes, so 1927 put on the intent calendar today. What does that mean? That means that likely sometime this week, probably Thursday, it will go to the House floor, is what we're hoping, and we will start the debate. What I want to tell you what is going on kind of in the backgrounds and something that we're sort of fighting it on. What's this? I see a $3 super sticker. Thank you. Okay, it is on the OCT. Okay, good. Thank you very much. So that'll, okay, awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you, Rose. So the bill got voted out of the Senate committee in the exact same form that it was sent to the Senate, okay, from the House. So any amendments and changes that were made in the House were kept. Nothing was taken out. Nothing was added in at the Senate committee. Now, when they did the Senate committee hearing, there was talk about these six amendments, okay? Now, one of the problems that we have right now, and yes, it's a problem, and I've called out the TMPA and CLEAT and these other law enforcement agencies for years over their ignorant, chicken little arguments about the sky is going to fall, we're all going to die, and the earth is going to blow up if we pass this pro-gun law. They've been wrong so many times. I don't even understand why they're not kicked out the second they walk onto the Capitol steps. But everybody's got freedom of speech, even idiots. And so the TMPA idiots and the CLEAT idiots I think they just like hearing themselves talk because no one really listens to them anymore on the streets. And so maybe the legislators are the last people that'll listen to them. But they have 6 amendments that they're going to add on the floor of the Senate. And I'm going to go through each of those 6 and kind of tell you why you should or should not be concerned about that. I'm also going to tell you why law enforcement should or should not be concerned about that. But first, I'm going to tell you that I don't give a crap what law enforcement thinks because their job is to enforce the law. All right. Their job isn't to go out there and say what my rights are, which is unfortunately what they've been doing. Is trying to tell people, you're trying to tell legislators, oh, this makes my job hard. Oh, boo-hoo. Guess what? Government makes the job hard of just about every business owner. All right? Government is always making our jobs harder as citizens. So what? If you don't like it, go get another job. If you're not a good enough cop that you can't tell the difference between a good guy with a gun and a bad guy with a gun, maybe you need to go plant trees for a living. But you don't need to be a cop. And I've been arguing this stuff forever. They said the same thing in 1995 with the the licensed concealed carry law. Oh, we're all going to die. It's going to be the Wild West. Blah, 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 blah. And nothing happened. And for 20 years, we got nothing. Well, nearly 20 years, about 16 years, 17 years. And then there was the Motorist Protection Act, which allowed us to carry a gun concealed, a handgun concealed in our vehicle. I think that was 2002, without a license. And the law enforcement came out again and said, oh my gosh, everyone's going to be carrying. We're going to have felons carrying. I mean, if Representative Johnson was in the House at the time, she would have been talking about, or the Senate House, she'd have been talking about Wild West pimp style, all that kind of stuff. And yet nothing happened in 2002. 2015, open carry and campus carry were the soup du jour for gun rights activists, and constitutional carry, though we didn't get that. And what did law enforcement say? Oh my gosh, it's gonna, people are gonna shoot each other. We're all these little arguments are gonna escalate because there's gonna be a gun involved, and for campus carry, teachers aren't gonna be able to give bad grades, and they're not gonna be able to have debates in classrooms because people are gonna have guns, and we're not gonna know who's art, and blah blah blah. And so cops have been wrong. They have a perfect track record of being completely wrong. The Texas Municipal Police Association and the Combined Law Enforcement Associations of Texas, CLEAT, as well as the Major Cities Police Chiefs Association, all these things. Every single one of these cop organizations have been wrong every single time, and they're wrong now. Now they're saying that it's going to make their job harder. They're not going to know the good guys from the bad guys. Okay, it's not that hard. It really isn't. First of all, if someone's not breaking the law and they're carrying a gun, leave them alone. They're not breaking the law. Criminals by nature are breaking the law. But here's what they're demanding. Now, I'll say as an exception to this is the Texas Sheriff's Association. They are not opposed to the bill, but they spoke on the bill and said that they believe in the rights, and the way they would support the bill was to add a couple of things in, as opposed to just not oppose the bill, unlike the other police chiefs associations and all these other statist groups that are out there that are actively opposing the bill. So the first one is what they want to do. And I'm going to go through these amendments, and these are the amendments that are going to be talked about on the floor of the Senate when this bill, HB 1927, comes to the floor of the Senate. These will be offered, I think, by Schwartner himself. I wish he wouldn't do that. And believe me, we're trying to just keep the bill, because anything that they add onto this bill changes it, and therefore it doesn't go straight to the governor. It goes to a conference committee. And that's just another step. And we're only a few weeks out from the end of the session. So we really want this to go as quickly as possible. But we also, and really the only major obstacle that we have to the six amendments, or that I have, is that it's just going to slow down the process. Really, that's my main concern about the six amendments, because they're not entirely bad, but I just don't think they're needed. So the first one is, well, I mean, some of these are needed. The first one is to align the bill with current law about carrying while intoxicated. So they want to make clear, even though I don't think the bill changes the law, I don't think this is a problem to add it, but I don't think it's necessary, because I think the law already covers carrying a firearm while intoxicated. So this will just make it a little more clear that it aligns HB unlicensed carry with the provisions of licensed carry as it relates to carrying a firearm while intoxicated. Okay. Now, first of all, I don't have an issue with that, for one, because I don't think that the mere act of possession should be a crime. I think it's the act of use, or an act itself. There is no act of possession. It's passive. But the act itself of using a firearm while intoxicated in a criminal manner, I think, should be the problem. But again, I understand. I don't have necessarily a problem with this amendment. I just don't think it's necessary. I really don't. I don't think it's necessary to align the bill with current law, but a lot of lawmakers might want to do that, and I just don't really see the utility in it. All right. The second one, which, I mean, look, this isn't bad, okay? Some of these amendments are not bad, and I'll explain why they're not bad, but these are the 6 things that law enforcement wants on this bill. And the second one is to abolish the license to carry fee. Hey, I'm all for that. Absolutely. I don't think you should ever have to pay a fee to exercise a right. Now, what's great is, let me tell you this. If there's constitutional carry, right? If we have unlicensed carry, I don't have a problem with a small $40 fee for the license. And I'll tell you why. because you've got to pay for. Now I think $40 is more than it costs to create a license, but you've got to pay for the background check, you've got to pay for um, the paperwork, you've got to pay for the license itself, the printing and the manufacturing. And so I know there are some costs, and I think the fee is what helps to prevent the average taxpayer from having to pay taxes on something like this. And therefore, if you want a license, you can get a license, but you don't need it because in Texas we're an unlicensed carry state. Now, if it's mandatory like it is right now, right this second, sure, I'm all for not forcing people to pay $40 or even $1 for a license to carry. If the government's going to force me to get a permit to exercise my rights, then that permit should be free. It shouldn't cost me a dime. But the reason why I don't think this is necessary to abolish the LTC fee in 1927 is because, look, I would rather, if a gun owner wants to get a license, because remember, he won't have to if this law passes, but if a gun owner wants to get a license, then he can do that, and then he can pay the $40. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Every state has some fee for a license, and it pays for the administration of that program. And I think a lot of programs should be that way, that we should have less taxes because most people don't use most of the programs out there that we're getting taxed on, every single one of us. And so if you're going to take part in a program, then you should probably pay a small fee for that, at least to pay for the operation and the administration of that program, such as the LTC. And the LTC is a good thing to have because it's good for reciprocity when you go to other states. It's also good for getting around a lot of federal laws because a lot of federal laws do not apply to license holders who are licensed in that state. Now, it would apply to me, for example, if I'm a license holder and I go to Oklahoma, but I've got a Texas license, then the federal laws do apply to me because I don't have a license issued in that state. For example, the Safe School Zone Act, where you can't get within X number of feet of a school, but with a gun, unless you live in the area, unless you one of the exceptions are there, like traveling through in a vehicle. But if you have a license, you could, whatever the state law is applies. And in Texas, the state law is you could take a gun literally right up to the front door of a school if you have a license. You just can't go inside the building itself. So that's one of the other pluses of having a license in Texas, and that's why I don't mind. If somebody wants to get that, they can pay a small fee to get that. The other thing is you can get to the Capitol much easier. You don't have to worry about those long lines, especially on lobby days. There are days where I get there and the line is all the way out the door and sometimes down the steps. And if you have a license, you can go around that line and just go through the license line. They scan your card, you're good to go. You get let right in. You don't have to worry about going through a metal detector or anything like that. I mean, because they already know you got a gun. What are they going to look for in a metal detector? And people with licenses can be trusted because the statistics are out there that you're 6 times less likely to commit a crime if you're a license holder than you are if you're a cop. Felix, thank you for the $5, sir. And you're right. The second is clear. We shouldn't have to debate or beg. I completely agree. Now, what I'm talking about right now, when I'm talking about the license, okay, I want to make very, 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 very clear. I'm talking about a voluntary license system, not the one that we have right now where it's mandatory that you get a license in order to exercise your Second Amendment rights. I don't believe in that. So there's the getting around federal laws, there's getting into the Capitol, and the next thing is when you go to buy a gun in the state where you are, you can present that license to carry, and yet you still got to fill out the 4473 form to purchase the firearm, but you don't have to wait on a background check because obviously you've already been background checked. The license is proof of that background check, and you're good to go. So there are benefits to having a license, and I've had a license for several years. I've just had an out-of-state license because I refuse to pay my home state a tax or a fee to exercise my rights. But since I have to, since I'm essentially forced by threat of death or imprisonment, I got a license from another state that recognizes Texas reciprocity. And once we have unlicensed carry, I will have a Texas license as well because it's not forced upon me. It's something that I choose to do. And I choose to do it because of the convenience of having a license for buying guns, for getting into the Capitol, and for circumventing federal laws on many issues. All right, so that's the Second Amendment. So like I said, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think we need to abolish the LTC fee. If we have unlicensed carry, there's no reason to abolish the fee. It really is a minor fee, $40. I do think we can lower that to 27. I know when we were fighting this issue 2 sessions ago, 2019, 2017, yeah, when we were fighting this this issue, we did the research, and it costs about $27 to administer the license to carry program per person. And so I think $27 should be what the cost is of that. And to be honest with you, I still think that's high, because in Georgia, when I got my license, when I was stationed in Georgia way back in the day, it cost me $10 for a paper license and $20 if I wanted a plastic card. So I don't, if Georgia can do a background check for $10, then so can Texas, I think. And but because we have one of the most strict license to carry programs in the country, that's probably why it costs so much, because there's so many other things they got to look at. Instead of just looking at a criminal background check, they want to make sure you're paying your child support. So they got to look through that system. Then they want to make sure that you're paying your taxes. So you got to look through that system. That's why ours probably costs 2.5 times more than some of the other states I've been in. But I think a minor fee is fine. So the Second Amendment, abolishing the LTC fee, I don't think is necessary when you have unlicensed carry, because there's already no fee to carry. There's already no fee to carry. And if you want a piece of plastic that says I've been background checked and vetted, you should have to pay a small fee to have that produced, because the average taxpayer should not have to pay for you to get a license. I don't think, in my opinion. That's on you. Hey, officer safety issues, how you doing? All right, the Third Amendment that they are going to, this is the one that I oppose adamantly the most. Okay, this is the one that I think is, I think it needs to be there, but on the other hand, it doesn't matter if it's there. And I'll tell you what that is. So this is the removing Section 10 from HB 1927. And what Section 10 was, we call that the Dutton-Huffines Amendment. You might remember when we did open carry, we tried to get an amendment added that would prevent law enforcement from stopping someone just because they're open carrying and demanding to see their identification and all that kind of stuff. That passed in the House. We got that on there, but in the Senate, it was removed. And we lost that battle in the Senate. And that's also one of the reasons why we had to go to in the conference committee, I think is where it was stripped, because the wording of it was slightly different in the Senate than it was in the House. And I think that was intentional, unfortunately. So it's a good thing. Section 10, I want to keep in there, because it spells out verbatim and creates a statute. In other words, it codifies what is already in existing common law. And the common law already says, if you look through all the cases, you got Brown v. Texas, Black v. U.S., I forgot the other ones. It's starts with a P. Anyway, you've already got these cases that say that law enforcement cannot stop and detain you merely for the presence of a firearm where a firearm is legal, okay, without some sort of reasonable suspicion or probable cause. That's what the Amendment 3 does. It codifies what is already in the existing law. And hey, Zafarius, how you doing? And so if they remove it, this is why I'm sort of ambivalent about it. I mean, this is going to make cops feel all good about themselves. Ooh, we got to win. But really, they didn't get a win. I don't know why they're opposing a section that literally all it does is codify existing case law. But, law enforcement, these organizations, not law enforcement, these organizations, of course, the TMPA and the Police Chiefs Association and CLEAT, these morons, they're not smart enough to think analytically, and so they just think that they want to get rid of that. But even if they get rid of that, it doesn't matter. It's already case law that you can't. Well, Terry v. Ohio is another one. It's funny. Plessy v. Ferguson keeps coming to my head, but we all know it's not Plessy v. Ferguson. It's good golly, how am I missing this case? It's right in the tip of my tongue. But anyway. So even if they succeed in removing Section 10 of the bill, which is the Dutton Amendment, the Rinaldi-Dutton Amendment, and it's not in the final product. So if they go to if this is removed, it's obviously going to change it from the House version, and it goes to a combined conference committee. And let's say it stays removed. The House says, okay, well, we'll remove that. It doesn't matter because it's already case law anyway. Cops already can't do that. But here's the problem. When you're on the street and you tell a police officer what the law is, the case law is, oh, that's for the court to decide. That's the problem. That's why this needs to be codified. The only reason that these organizations, the TMPA and all these organizations, want to have this removed is so that their cops can pretty much do whatever they want on the street and use that stupid excuse, well, oh, you can quote me case law all day long, but that's for the court to decide. If it's codified, they can't do it at all. So literally what these associations and these unions, these police unions want to do is they want law enforcement to have the ability to violate your rights. That's what this is about. It has nothing to do with officer safety, has nothing to do with citizen safety, has nothing to do with safety at all. It has to do with the fact that they want their officers to be able to exercise their qualified immunity because this is not codified in the law. It's only case law. And we all know that police don't go around reading case law like they should. Now, they can misquote Terry v. Ohio all day long. They're really good at that. They're really good at misquoting some laws and some case laws, excuse me. But if this is codified like it is right now, as it stands, law enforcement is essentially put on notice. And because they're put on notice and because the law specifically says if the presence of a firearm is the only reason for the stop, you can't stop that person. Well, that would mean they'd have no qualified immunity if they stopped you anyway, because the law is very clear, as opposed to right now where they can just claim, oh, I didn't know that was the case law. I'm just a police officer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge, which is funny because, how many times do cops love to tell you on the side of the street when you're arguing what the law says, oh, where'd you go to law school? I can't wait to get that after I graduate law school. I can't wait to get that question for the first time. Oh, where'd you go to law school? Or probably went to, I could have gone to the worst law school. I could have gone to the worst law school in the country. And it's still better than the law school you went to, officer, which is not anything. All right. That was the third amendment that's probably going to be brought up this week on HB 1927. So just to recap, in case you weren't here, the first one is to align the bill with current law about carrying while intoxicated. The second law is abolish the amendment. The second amendment is the abolish the LTC fee. The third amendment is to remove Section 10 of the bill, which is the stop and frisk, essentially, is what I call it. The stop and frisk section of the bill. And now the fourth one is an enhancement of penalties for disqualified persons in possession. So, again, there's an open question about federal preemption in this matter. But that's really for them to worry about, I think. The feds have a history of not prioritizing felon in possession prosecutions or even lying on the 4473. So even if we do this, it's not like it's being enforced anyway. No one's enforcing this kind of stuff. So there's a conflict between this amendment, Amendment 4, which would create enhancement of penalties for disqualified persons under possession, and state law and Texas law that allows a felony who is 5 years old or 5 years out to keep that firearm in their residence for self-protection. So that's going to create a problem. If we do enhanced penalties for disqualified persons, what are we talking about? Because if a person's on his own property and he's got a firearm and he's a felon, but it's been more than 5 years, under Texas law, he's allowed to have that firearm on his property. Whereas under federal law, he's still not. She, he, it, whatever, is still banned. So this actually creates a conflict. And we don't need that conflict in there. Now, I'm all for if you violate, if you use a firearm to break the law, you should pay it. It should be a heavy fee, penalty, because it's those people that make it harder for the rest of us. It's those people that make gun control easier. Hey, Jim, I'm talking about HB 1927 and the amendments that are going to be submitted on the Senate floor. And I'm on the fourth amendment of that. And again, I'll go over all the amendments here in just a second. So this is the enhancement of penalties for disqualified persons in possession. I definitely think that, see, here's the problem. I don't think that possession in and of itself should ever be a crime. Just the fact that I have a gun should not be a crime. If I use that gun to commit a crime, that's where I think there should be enhanced penalties. But just because you're a felon, I mean, there are so many, the vast majority of felonies are non-violent, white collar type crimes. And so for me to agree with this enhanced penalties for felons in possession would mean that I would agree that someone like Martha Stewart, who has a gun for self-defense, but she never uses it for any other purpose, she just keeps it in her purse. But one day she gets pulled over or gets searched for whatever reason, and she's got a gun in her purse, and now, oh my gosh, felon in possession, that should not be an enhanced penalty. And so that's why I don't really support that. But obviously, if you're using a firearm to commit a violent offense, I think they should throw the book at you. They should throw you underground because it makes it harder for the rest of us. So we're gonna try and fight that. But I know that's something that law enforcement wants. Look, we already have felon in possession laws at the federal level. Let's let that take care of it. We don't need anything else. We don't need that amendment on there at this time. You know, come back with another bill next session that addresses when a firearm is used to commit an actual crime. We just don't need this enhancement. All right, that's the Fourth Amendment. Here, let me go through the amendments one more time for those just joining us. The first one they're going to file is align the bill with current law about carrying while intoxicated. The second one is to abolish the LTC fee. The third one is to remove Section 10 of the bill, which is the stop and frisk bill or stop and ID. It essentially codifies case law. The fourth one, enhancement of penalties for disqualified persons in possession. And then now the next one is restrictions regarding schools, campus carry, and so on. The same as for LTC carriers. I don't think that's necessary. I think the law already, you know, there was a lot of misinformation that was put out there by both legislators and witnesses that were trying to claim that under HB 1927, that a person was not committing a crime if they carried a firearm into a school unless someone at the school said, "Excuse me, sir, can you take your gun outside?" And if that person said no, then they'd have to call the cops. That is not what the bill does at all, anywhere. You cannot point to a section in 1927 that allows an unlicensed person to carry a gun onto a school. By the way, it's a felony under federal law anyway, if you don't have a license, because remember, the LTC exempts you from that federal law. Having an LTC exempts you from that federal law. So if you're going into a school and you don't have a license anyway, you're already committing a felony. There's no reason to add this on there to murk down the bill and slow it down and send it to a conference committee, because the law is already there. Okay, if they want to create some separate state law, let's do that separate. We don't need that on this particular bill, because it's very clear right now under state law, and if 1927 passes, it is very clear that you have to have a license to carry a firearm onto a college campus. Okay, 1927 does not change that. So there's no need for this language in there for, you know, clarification or whatever on schools and campus carry. That's for the schools, and it's just a general education process. That's what Open Carry Texas is out there for, is to get this kind of information out there to help them understand that. There is no difference. So if it does that, I mean, if they do that, it doesn't really matter because it's already the law, but now they're just making it more of the law. They're making it, I guess, stupid proof, you know, Democrat proof. I don't know what they're doing there, but so it's not necessarily a problem if it's added, but if we add something that doesn't need to be added, that's not necessary to, you know, because of some unintended consequence, then all we're doing is slowing down the timeline and making it to where we're going to have to go for a conference committee. And then we're going to do just like on Open Carry, where we're going to be debating this crap up until the last day. And at the last minute, it's going to get passed. And we don't need to go through that process. We just don't. So I don't think that amendment's necessary either. But if it gets passed, it's probably not a big deal. All right, the last one. So we've gone over align the bill with current law about carrying while intoxicated, abolish the LTC fee, remove Section 10, which is the stop and ID bill, or section, enhancement of penalties for disqualified persons in possession, and then restrictions, et cetera, for schools, campus carry, and so on, making it the same for LTC carriers. Yeah, if you want to come on, Jim, just log in, man. You should have that same link. You can use the same link to log in. And the last one is it calls for DPS to create a voluntary free online classes on gun laws and gun safety. Why do we need a bill to do that? Why can't the governor just say, hey, DPS, you need to create some voluntary online classes that deal with gun laws and safety? We don't need to add this to the bill. We can just direct DPS to do this. Or, gee, maybe DPS, if it truly cares about safety, can do it without being told. Just a thought. Just a thought. Why do we have to put it into legislation? The governor can just issue an executive order and say, DPS, do it. That's all it takes. Because DPS falls under the governor. DPS, do it. Make it happen. Create free voluntary training, online classes about the gun laws and safety. They already have a budget for creating PSAs. They already have a budget for that. So that's all they got to do is just create these. Hell, I bet you what DPS could do is say, hey, Open Carry Texas or Gun Owners of America or Lone Star Gun Rights or whoever, hey, why don't you guys, would you guys mind creating a series of videos about what the Texas law is? And they won't do that because they want to be able to craft what they think the law is in their own vision. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing for DPS to create these free online classes. But again, all it's going to do is force the bill into a conference committee. Okay. So here's my final takeaway on all this. None of these is really a problem. None of these 6 amendments is really a problem on their face, because all they're doing is essentially turning things on to, they're just minor issues. So it's not a problem. If all 6 of these get in there, it's not a problem, except that it's going to slow down the process and it's going to require any amendment, any change to the language whatsoever. Any change means that this bill is going to have to go to a conference committee, and then it's going to have to pass the conference committee, and then it's going to have to go back to the House and the Senate for a vote before it can go to the governor. I would prefer to not worry about that because the bill is just fine as it is. This other stuff just codifies what is already existing law, or it's just good to have type stuff, but it's not necessary. And if these are the things they truly want, we can come back and work on those things next session. And you know what? OCT will help you with most of these because they're not a problem. We'll help you pass these things, law enforcement. I mean, if you feel that freaking stupid about it, we'll help you pass these things as standalone or separate bills, but not if it's going to jeopardize and delay getting unlicensed carry HB 1927 out there. That's all I had to put out. Those are the 6 amendments that are going to be considered this week when the bill finally gets to the Senate floor. Again, it was set on the intent calendar today, which means I'm thinking that the bill will be heard either tomorrow or Thursday. It doesn't look like it's tomorrow because I just looked at, so that's the 4th. If I look at the 5th, at the regular order of business, oh, it is tomorrow. 1927 is on the calendar for tomorrow, not Thursday. All right. So there you go. Oh, for second reading. So for tomorrow, HB 1927 is on here, and it looks like it's the 3rd, but I don't know if they're going to take it up that quickly. They might wait a little bit. Hey, there's a bill here about relating to the rule against perpetuities. I'm going to have to look at that. That's some property law stuff right there, and the rule against perpetuities is a very difficult and confusing theory of law, or rule, I guess you could say. Anyway, I got just sorry. So yeah, 1927 is going to be tomorrow on second reading, tomorrow. And I don't see, let me see what time the Senate is supposed to convene. They are supposed to convene. Where's the schedule here, yo? What are you doing? Calendars, 5th. Does it say what time they're going to convene? No, it just says May 5th. Hang on. It looks like, nope, that doesn't give me a time. All right, well, whenever the Senate convenes tomorrow, it's going to be heard. I'm going to look at one more thing here. Senate, let's see, schedules? No. That's for committee schedules. Committee meetings, daily business. Today's agenda, floor calendars by date. Let's see if I can get tomorrow's agenda. It's not giving me a time. And it's not giving me a time. So, oh well, there you go. Probably 9 o'clock, I would imagine. I'd imagine it's probably around 9 o'clock or so. All right, I am done with that. So let me watch the, let's go over here and look and see what questions you have in the chat here. They'll do all, let's see, they'll do whatever they have to stop it. Well, I think I think the Senate is up against the wall right now. I think we're at the point, because of how many people or how many other states have passed this, you now actually have the governor saying, put it on my desk, instead of just, oh, well, if it gets to my desk, I'll sign it. He's now saying, get it to my desk. So there's been a change in Governor Abbott's tone. Must be an election season. Can't wait to watch tomorrow. I watched all the arguments against 1927. They're the same things they argue in Oklahoma. Yep, absolutely, including the 81% BS. Hey guys, also check this out. Let me I'm going to put a link in the store here, or in the chat. We've got a shirt, a Wild West pimp style shirt. If you'd like to get your own, I'm going to put the link here in the chat. I'll also put it in the description under the video for those of you that are not watching this live. Let me open this up here. And then I'll get back to the chat. I'm sorry, I'm on another page right now. Why is that not opening? There we go. All right, so get your Wild West pimp style shirt. Support Open Carry Texas. Here's the link for that. Wear it to the Capitol. Also, if the bill passes, now I'm going to be home soon because our semester's ending. My first final for the semester is actually tomorrow, so I should kind of be going over my notes again. But I'm about studied to death today. I don't think I can get any more ready for my wills and estates exam tomorrow. And then next week I have 4 more exams, and then I'm done, and I'll be home. And so we're going to have a rally once this passes, especially probably whenever it gets signed into law by Governor Abbott. So make sure you get your Wild West pimp style shirt, and we're all going to wear those to our rally. And even if it's not, because the bill doesn't go into effect until September 1st, unless they change that in the language, but they haven't yet. There's no suggested amendment to change that. The law will go into effect September 1st of this year. So unfortunately, you either have to carry a rifle or a licensed handgun, or just don't get caught. Let's see. CJ, will 1927 lower the age to get an LTC? No, it will not. Nothing changes that yet. We're trying to get there on that, but that was just a road too far, a bridge too far on that one. This is all going to vote tomorrow. So officer safety issues tomorrow is what's called the second reading. So tomorrow they will debate it. They'll say stupid things against it, and they'll try to amend it, and then they'll vote to pass it to third reading, or not pass it to third reading, and then it'll go to third reading, and then it'll be the same process all over again, except the only difference is that the third reading is what sends it to the governor's desk. But in this case, if they amend it, it actually sends it to a conference committee to iron out the differences. All right, CJ, where'd it go? I just saw a question there, and I just scrolled too far past it. Where'd it go? CJ, my son is living in the dorms. He is 20 and would like to be legal to carry on campus. He cannot, because in Texas, you have to be 21 to get a license to carry, and to carry onto a campus, you need a license to carry. So ergo, you have to be 21 to carry a gun. But when he turns 21, have him get a license. 1927 will not allow campus carry unless you have a license. So if you're going to carry on the school, and again, that's something we'll have to take up later. But if you want to carry on a school grounds on a college campus, you're going to have to get a license one way or the other. So there you go. All we hear is need for new laws, for the world has changed, but not one see technology ruin this country. I'm not sure I understand that. I don't understand that one, Amish Drywall. Beer 30 a.m. Yes. So if you can get to the Capitol tomorrow to watch all this stuff, it'll be fun. The link didn't work? Hang on a second. I will send it to you there. Maybe because it's a different, I don't know, that's weird. Hang on, Jim. I'm coming. And I'll get back to the questions in the chat room. And if you would like to join, actually, I'll tell you what. If you have questions, and you'd like to ask them, or even comments, and you'd like to ask them here during this live stream. All right, Jim, I just sent you the link. But you know what I'll do is I'll just give it to everybody. And if you have a question and you would like to come on to the live stream with me, there you go. All right, so link didn't work. I did that, Jim. I guarantee blood will flow freely in the streets if this is passed. Your brainwashing is working perfectly there, Picture Perfect, but I know you're just being sarcastic. Thank you for your hard work, CJ. Carry on. Hey, thank you, Josue. Appreciate it, brother. And thank you for all your hard work down there in Brownsville, man. You're in enemy territory just about down there. All right, let me get Jim on here. There we go. Hang on, Jim. I'm gonna go through the rest of these questions here, and then there will be blood. Yes, a license is still an infringement, but if we have unlicensed carry, the license it's just you get a choice. You have a choice to go there or not. So it's not really an infringement if you have a choice to get it. It's more of a comfort thing. Hey, Levi, what up, brother? Oh, shoot. Hey, Levi, are you still in there? I think I was supposed to call you. Dude, it's finals week, man. I'm hard to get a hold of, and I forget stuff. Works for me, ordering right now. All right. Okay, Jim, what's going on, man?
What's going on? Yeah, it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, let me turn on my speaker. There we go.
There we go. I spent all morning watching the live and trying to figure out the screen here. It's my first time trying to do something on my own. And yeah, to my behold, when I've got it all ready, all of a sudden, 1 p.m. rolled around and they're like, hey, we're not doing anything else for the day. F you guys. We're going to be lazy. Go do a little live thing and then take off the rest of the day instead of doing what we're supposed to be doing. So yeah, I was a little pissed off with that. But no, it's supposed to be starting again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Is when they're going to be coming back to trying to do their jobs. Hopefully they actually get to it. I saw that you already figured out that they redid the scheduling for the day. I've been talking to AJ, and he's the one that's been giving me heads up on what's been going on and talking to people and trying to get everything rolling. So hopefully they'll hear it first thing in the morning, but more than likely they're probably going to wait until it's later in the evening so they can try to filibuster it out for another day, because that's how Democrats roll.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Rhino here. Let's see what he wanted to add. What's up there, Rhino? Oh, he even brought his plates in case you shoot him, Jim.
Hey, how's it going? I just popped on your YouTube and I saw you're talking. I hadn't caught the conversation yet, so sorry for the coming in uninformed.
Oh yeah. We were talking about the unlicensed carry bill that's going to be heard tomorrow in the Texas Senate.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not read up on it, but are they voting to kind of do what Tennessee did with the constitutional carry type bill?
Sort of. It's going to be the second reading, so it's not gonna be the full vote yet. It's essentially just going to be they're going to debate it and vote on amendments to it, and then it'll go to third reading, which is when it'll go to the governor. But It's probably not going to go to the governor because they're going to amend the House bill, and it's going to have to go to a conference committee.
I see a lot of states moving toward kind of hedging themselves against some of these federal laws coming up that they're talking about implementing. And, there's a lot of lines being drawn in a lot of places. So it'll be interesting to see what states side with the Constitution and what states side with communism. So, Tennessee, where I'm from, they just passed the constitutional carry bill. And I thought it was kind of funny when I was hanging out with some of my buddies, we were talking about it. And, we've gotten to a place in our country where we have to ask permission from the government to just carry out our constitutional rights. And instead of them protecting those rights, they're granting those rights now. And it's good to see states kind of reinforcing and doubling down on protecting those rights and recognizing their role as government.
Well, we just passed SB 513, Senate Bill 513, just passed last week, and it essentially makes Texas a Second Amendment sanctuary state where law enforcement state funds cannot be used by law enforcement to enforce any federal gun law that's more strict than state law. And so that goes to the House, and hopefully will be debated here pretty soon to make Texas a sanctuary state as well.
Yeah, which CJ was talking about earlier, which is actually really good for anyone who is a felon who's been off of probation or anything for 5 years, because by doing so, and while they're trying to work on getting their felony expunged, they can actually own a pistol for personal defense in their home until they get the expungement done and regain the remainder of their Second Amendment rights.
Yeah, if somebody's done their time, they've paid the price. I think there's nothing wrong with letting somebody, defend themselves at their own home. There's no problem with that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, especially if non-violent crime or a simple possession crime, some of that nature. If you're a murderer or pedophile, some of that nature, we can look at different things but for non-violent or small crimes, you shouldn't be losing your rights or for especially you're looking at Brady laws. A lot of people get caught up in Brady laws for stupid things that really shouldn't have their rights stripped away for momentary lapses that really ended up in little to no harm for something that happened 20 years ago.
Right. And I know a few guys that got in trouble when they were young for some drugs or for whatever, maybe wrote a bad check or something like that. And, they want to join a militia and they can't because they can't carry a firearm. And, or they just want to defend their family and they can't because they can't have a firearm in the house. And, they didn't perform or conduct any violent crimes against people or, like you said, rapists, murderers, that kind of stuff. And, many of them served less time because they, were behaved in prison and they got out early, on good behavior. So those kind of people, I don't have a problem with them having their Second Amendment rights fully restored.
And I don't understand what the Democrat opposition to this is, because they're the same. They're the ones that are whining about the fact that our prison system and our justice system unfairly labels minority communities and prevents them from, it gives them records at an early age. And well, okay, well then let's reinstate their rights then after they've served their time. If you think that all this is, if all this is nonsense and we have a racist justice system, then let's end this racist system by reinstating people's rights once they've done their time and paid their dues.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't do that, because they hate guns more than they love minorities. Sorry.
That's another great thing about this bill coming up is the amendment that was added in the House that any person who had been convicted of unlawful carry of a firearm or pistol in this case would have that exclusion from the record. And I haven't been able to find the statistics of how many people are currently serving prison time for that specific sentence only. But I would imagine there's probably going to be at least a few hundred people who are sitting in jail right now who are going to be released for something as simple as carrying a firearm, a constitutional right to protect themselves, who committed no other crime but that, who are going to be released. So this bill doesn't just regain the rights of people. This is going to be expunging probably thousands, not tens of thousands of people's records and releasing people from prison by just regaining our rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also there's people that fall into what I call the war on drugs wasteland. And that is these people that got, caught with simple possession that are in there for 25 to life because they got caught 3 times. And, they come out a felon for that. And, those guys, they were just maybe users or small time drug dealers, and they weren't hurting a fly. And if you really want to get down to discrimination and racism and fixing that problem, you should let those people have their gun rights back too, because they're the ones that suffer the most from these laws, these arbitrary laws that get passed for so long. And they come out of prison, they can't protect themselves when they come out of prison. And, there's no reason for them to have their rights stripped of them either.
Right. Exactly.
So you want to talk about racism, that's about the most racist thing that they could possibly do is take away the right from those people. Because most of them are minorities that got in that, got caught up in that war on drugs.
Well, and think about what Jim was saying about, this addition that was added about if you were convicted just of unlawful carry and that was it, that your record will be expunged. I mean, how many minority people have had cops come up to them and just start, throwing them up against the wall and searching them or unlawfully. And next thing you know, they find a gun on them. They're not using it for any crime. They're just, hanging out in their neighborhood. And because of that, suddenly they've got this bogus charge on their record.
Absolutely.
I want to know, CJ, how much is it going to cost these people to have those records expunged? There are fees for expungement, but that didn't get mentioned in the House amendment. It's going to be done. It's just supposed to be something that's done automatically. What's supposed to happen is DPS will stream through, or maybe the Attorney General's office will stream through all of these, these convictions and expunge them. I'm sure there's an easy database that they can look through to find who's been convicted of that and have it removed. It shouldn't cost the people anything. So,
well, and there's another thing we got to look at too, the way law enforcement works as it is right now. For officer safety, the way federal case law works is they say that an officer can frisk a person to look for a firearm or for a dangerous instrument if they fear for their safety when they're doing a consensual stop with an individual. No, not a consensual, not even a consensual. If it's a consensual stop, they can't do a Terry frisk at all. Well, there's been court cases before where they'll come up, or for investigation, it'll start off with, consensual, then, hey, we're doing investigation because we may have smelled marijuana, but because we smelled marijuana, for our safety, we're going to frisk you for a firearm because that may be illegal.
But see, they can't even do that. They're only the law, the case law is they can only do a Terry frisk.
Yes. But because we're getting rid of the statutory for having to have a license, this will eliminate the one way cops can try to go, oh, well, he might have a gun or it looks like a gun.
Right.
I don't think he has a license. So we use the whole he has to have a license. And just in Texas alone, by eliminating to carry a gun, you got to have a license, that no longer will fly. So it just creates one less loophole for law enforcement to try to entrap people.
Yeah, and for the law enforcement that are watching this, I mean, I want to make this very clear that a Terry stop doesn't mean that you can just stop and frisk anybody that you stop when you're talking to. There are several elements to that. First of all, you have to have reasonable suspicion that this person might be involved in some sort of criminal matter. Okay, even if you're just doing an investigation and you're not sure who it is, and so you're questioning people, you're doing an investigation, and you have reason to believe that this person in some way might be involved in that investigation, and you have to reasonably believe that that person has a firearm, and third, you have to believe that they are a danger to you, the officer, or others. And if one of those three things don't exist, you can't just go and search people to see if they have a gun. You have to have a reasonable belief that they have a gun.
Well, did you hear what they passed in Canada today?
No.
Proud Boys are now a declared terrorist group.
Oh, that finally passed? I know they were talking about it.
They passed that. So it's one of those ones that, I wouldn't be surprised if some law enforcement tried to go, oh, well, they're a terrorist group in Canada. So if they're recognizing Canada, we see someone wearing the gold and black polo here in America, I can recognize them as a terrorist organization or a street gang. And if they're open carrying, I can try to use that as a peremptual stop. It's like,
how's that?
There you go.
Like, you got to remember. Yeah, there we go. Now I can actually, it's not invisible.
Now I'm an official terrorist in Canada.
Well, the sad fact of it is anybody that's got a mind for free thinking like us, it doesn't matter if you're part of a group or not. They're looking to make all of us domestic terrorists in some way or another eventually, and they're getting closer and closer to that thought police that was in George Orwell's book 1984, and trying to enforce thought crime.
Yep, and Resolution says Terry stop and Terry pat down has to change. We have a Fourth Amendment for good reason. Want to touch me? Want to go in my pockets? Get a warrant.
Yeah.
Zafarius, don't forget me, CJ. What am I?
Dick, that's my dick.
Like that one guy. What is that? What is that? My dick.
I can't. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Rhino, you got anything else? I'm gonna see if anybody else wants to come on here.
No, CJ, it's great having me on here. Thank you for having me, and keep doing what you're doing.
All right, brother. You too, man. Talk to you later.
Thanks, CJ. Have a good one.
All right, you too. All right. So, Zafarius. Yeah, you're gonna have to remind me again, Zafarius, once I get back this summer. What's that?
A lot of people have been asking me about this sticker on my safe. I want to clear it up because people are like, is this guy a Biden supporter? This Biden for nursing home resident, okay? I got another one.
Okay, I see it now.
Why? So people keep seeing that and think I'm like some kind of like closet Democrat. It's a joke.
Well, I've got a shirt that I'm making. It uses the Biden logo. It says Joe Biden, and then in smaller letters underneath it, it says "Touch me inappropriately."
Yeah, I can see that. I make T-shirts. You want a custom T-shirt? Let me know. I'll make it for you.
Well, that's what I want. I want because I haven't ordered it yet. So if you want to make me a shirt, and I'll pay you for it. Says it's got the Joe Biden logo. It just says Joe Biden with his logo like thing, and then in small letters underneath says "Touched me inappropriately."
Yeah, send me what you want. I'm making one for your wife right now, anyways.
What? Does it have like it's got like holes right here for her?
She's probably watching this.
Oh, okay. That's the kind of shirt I want you to make for her.
It's a nice shirt, okay? It's not a naughty shirt.
That would be a nice shirt. I'd like it.
Stuff like that. For people that know, that's a sex shop here in the Killeen, Fort Hood area.
If anybody else wants to come on, and I'm going to be on for a few more minutes, but there's the link there in the chat. If you'd like to join us and you got something to say, you got a question. How does all these laws apply to felons that carry pre-1899 pistols? It doesn't. So you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, those are
felon,
still a firearm in the state of Texas. They are curios. You can still carry those because they are not a firearm. They're not considered a firearm, and they are legal to carry. Same thing with like pepper balls and tasers and stuff like that. They're still considered a weapon, but they are not considered a firearm. And
even if it's a pre-1899 center fire, those are legal too, by the way. If it's an actual $18.99 though, but good luck because you're gonna be paying a lot of money for a pre-$18.99 actual centerfire handgun. So
Good luck with the ammo for it.
yeah, and good luck finding the ammo for it, right? But yeah, anything pre-1899 is not considered a firearm under Texas law or federal law even.
Now, are you going to be in class tomorrow, or are you going to be around trying to catch the Senate hearing?
No, I've got an exam tomorrow. I've got my wills and estates exam.
Oh, you got to take care of the dead people, don't you know? Yeah, don't worry. I'll be tomorrow then. If you get done and it's still going, you can just hit me up and we'll switch over to your live stream because you make more money than I do.
Well, and then after that, I volunteered because I didn't know. I thought this was going to be on Thursday, and I didn't know that it's tomorrow. And I volunteered to help. They've got the the roving wall, the Vietnam Wall, that goes from state to state. So that's going to be here locally, and I volunteered to help as an usher at the roving wall. So, and I'll be doing that tomorrow afternoon after my exam.
Well, technically, it was today. It was supposed to be. So you're wrong twice.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, okay. Well, I don't see any more questions. Nobody else coming on. So, what do you got before we click out here?
You go over everything. I know there's a lot of confusion on the bill. I know we were talking about the other day about you got to be 21. Some people you said, or whether or not you could be underage or 18. I know I don't think you mentioned it, but you can still be 18 to carry if you're in the military, which a lot of people aren't sure about how that works because the law in Texas says you got to be active duty. Active duty underneath Texas law doesn't mean you have to be active duty. It just means you have to be actively enlisted. So National Guard, Reserve, anyone who's actively in the military, regardless of what branch or your status, as long as you're actively involved in it, you can get a license to carry at the age of 18 in the state of Texas. So that's the only way you can do it at 18 in Texas, unless you're carrying a long gun. So that's one thing that I kind of mentioned in another video I did, but I didn't see you put out, so I figured I'd inform.
Yeah, and I'll add to that too. If you're under 21, if you're 18, well, if you're under 21, you can actually even have a gun in your car concealed, a handgun, and that's legal as well.
Yeah,
you just can't carry it on your person.
Handgun, you got 21 to buy it, which is stupid.
Yeah.
Ammo, you got to be 21 to buy handgun ammo, but you only got to be 18 to own it.
Let's see, CJ, if you get a chance, check out Brent's channel. He got hemmed up with Baylor Scott and White security today, walking around in the parking lot waiting for his wife while he was armed. Really? I'm gonna have to go check that out over at Brent McCain's channel. I did not know that. Usually he sends me a text or something, but I didn't get anything from him. All right, guys, regulate Mike Griffiths. Absolutely. I agree 100%. What is this? What is my computer doing here?
Oh, next time you're in Killeen, my buddy said he'll fix your computer for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's taking slow. If 1927, do you think we'll see more 30.6 and 30.7 signs at businesses? I don't really.
Maybe
I don't think we will. And even if we do, they'll probably start disappearing just like they did, within a few years after open carry passed. I think there are a lot fewer signs now than there were back in 2015. So the officer that arrested me said he was charging me with unlawful carry because I had too many guns. Oh my gosh, if you could look at my trunk. Jeez. All right, guys. Well, what's that?
I'm not going to say anything. You know how I roll.
Yeah, I know how you roll. All right. Y'all take it easy. I'm going to go ahead and end this. Just wanted to give that information out. Thank y'all for being there. Don't forget, stay safe and stay free. We'll see you next time.